Hello, y'all. What's up? What's up? I had to throw my y'all in there, my Texas roots. I met Nomad Brad. He actually is a good friend of mine, and I'm excited to have him on today. Oh, Laura, come here. I was going to grab my Pomeranian. We would always bond over our cute dogs, but he just ran away. So Nomad Brad is a good friend, and he's also very successful in the van life space. And so I know a lot of folks who are considering tiny home living. They want to do this for the flexibility, the freedom of travel, the financial freedom that comes with it. But then there's all these questions of like logistics, or if I buy one, how do I build it out? Or should I just buy one that's already built out? And what do I look for? And so that is why I am excited. Well, I'm also excited because Brad is a dear friend of mine, to have Brad joining us today to share his story and wisdom. Hello, Brad.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We were just discussing, you made progress on the van build right behind you, your cabinets. Maybe you can share a little bit about kind of what you're working on, your past experiences, the Nomad Brad life vibe for folks who aren't familiar with all your work.
Yeah, so I think for folks listening, what would be super interesting or important would to know that I've been living in vehicles for over 7 years. I started March of 2018, and I have personally converted 5 different vehicles for myself from just regular vehicles into tiny homes on wheels. I started out in a cargo van, then I converted a shuttle bus, and then I did 2 box trucks. Actually, I guess that's 4: a cargo van, a shuttle bus, and 2 box trucks. So 4 vehicles for myself. And so every time I bought a vehicle just as a regular vehicle, like a cargo van or an old U-Haul, and then I did all the work, the building, the electrical, the cabinets, and all that kind of stuff, and turned it into a home on wheels. So this one I'm working on now is a 16-foot box truck, and I just today did some overhead cabinets. But you can see in the back, I have kind of a Murphy bed that pulls down. It's currently in bed mode, and then it folds up against the wall, and I have a seating bench, TV mounted up on the wall. I just did these upper cabinets a couple days ago. I need to put the doors on them. And then this one I just installed this afternoon. I need to put the face on it still, but I got a sink, little mirror window here, and then a big pantry over here I need to enclose. I have a wet bath here with a shower, mini split, does heat and cooling with a fridge. And my entire tiny home is powered off electricity. I have 2,000 watts of solar on the roof, collecting free energy from the sun. So that powers the entire place, the air conditioning, the fridge, the water heater, the cooktop. It's all electric. And so every day the sun comes up and gives me free energy from the sun. And so I don't have to buy propane or diesel fuel or anything to heat or cook with. And so I'm pretty happy with it. It's been a good lifestyle. When I started in 2018, I chose this lifestyle because I was really busy. I was working a lot. I was stressed out. I was making a bunch of money, but all my money was going to expenses. I owned a house. And so a bunch of money was going into home maintenance and car payments and insurance. And then the couple, days off that I got on the weekend, sometimes I only got one day off or no days off, but whatever time I got off, I was always maintaining my house, mowing the lawn, cleaning the gutters, painting. I got sick of it. So I just sold everything, bought a cargo van, converted it. And I realized let me go back a little bit. I realized if I cut my overhead, I wouldn't have to work so much because the majority of my working was just going to pay bills. Like the money was just flowing through me off to the big corporations, off to the insurance and the mortgage. So I realized if I didn't have to spend so much money, I wouldn't have to make so much money. And that would mean I wouldn't have to work so much. And if I didn't have to work so much, I could enjoy life more. So that was my goal. Enjoy more life, work less. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years now. It's been incredible. And especially nowadays, when I started in 2018, things were not as bad as far as the economy goes. Rent was cheaper, groceries were cheaper, everything was cheaper. I was still feeling the pinch, but nowadays it's 10 times worse. Inflation's out of control. And so I see more and more folks now that are taking to this lifestyle, not so much out of like a pre-planned uh, approach, but they're just realizing I don't have enough money to rent an apartment. So now I see like college age kids just living in their cars, living in Subarus or Hondas, whatever they happen to have, and they're making it work. And so I think we've reached kind of a crossroads where people are finally realizing they don't need as much stuff to have an enjoyable life. And I'm not talking about like scraping by, I just mean enjoying yourself. Like things are so convenient now. We have so much technology and connection that, I mean, as long as you have a place to sleep and an internet connection, you can stay in touch. You can watch, whatever you want to watch. You can work online. You can play games online. So, if you have a place to rest your head at night and an internet connection, that's kind of the bare necessities you need to then go out and do whatever you want to do. And so that's what I would encourage folks. Um, if you're feeling similar where you're kind of crushed by overhead, you're putting out a lot of money on a place to live, then tiny living, I think, is a great solution for you to work less. And then whatever your ambitions are, whatever life you want to live, get out there and live it with the extra time you have and the less burden you have.
Amen. Ooh, and I wanted to screen share to your Instagram because you were talking about you're like kind of burning the candle at both ends just to maintain the house. And then you have no time. And so you're like, there's no enjoyment, right? And the richness really of life when you have the freedom to travel and move around is like, I would be on your Instagram and seeing, you're like, here's my view today. And it's like San Diego, the beach. You're like, here's my view today. And it's like, national parks and mountains. So I'd love to just share some photos for folks. So this
Yeah, for
is
sure.
Brad's Instagram page. You make it look so glamorous and beautiful. So maybe, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about what is stealth camping, because you talked about you have your wet bath, everything's electric, it's all run on solar. You can park anywhere, right? Is that kind of what you're getting at with that terminology?
Yeah, so the idea is it's totally a contained tiny house. I have water tanks and everything I need, so I don't have to plug in anywhere. I don't have to plug in for power or sewer or any of that. And I have enough power coming in from my solar that I can do anything I need to. I can run the air conditioner, I can cook, so I can anywhere that I can physically park my vehicle. As long as I have a clear view of the sky, then I can live. And so the idea with stealth camping is, you're living inside your rig, but you're parking in unconventional places. So it's not, a lot of times it's glamorous, especially in San Diego. I was able to, spend some nights on the beach on Fiesta Island, and they have some pretty nice parking lots. You can back up to the ocean. And so I did a lot of that. But the idea with stealth camping is just that you're treading very lightly, you're leaving minimal impact, you're not showing off to the world that you're living out of your vehicle. So everything has happening inside the vehicle. You're not setting up lawn chairs and having a bunch of trash outside. And there's a very fine line because you see on the news a lot of like the more traditional like homeless type people that have the RVs and they're all trashy and they're spilling out into the streets. And so we're not that. We're very respectful of our surroundings, and we're just trying to get by and come in and leave and just kind of be unnoticed. So I would say for stealth camping, the biggest thing is just we're not really impacting the environment,
When you say
as
plural,
much.
it's a community. Like I've seen you post where it's like a camp, like people will all come together. Like you had a Joshua Tree post recently. Like maybe you can share, but this is like a movement, right? A lifestyle.
Yeah, so there's two parts of it. There's stealth camping is more of like, you're in the stealth camping pretty much is you're in a city. Because you're trying to fly under the radar. But we also have group gatherings. So there was one in Joshua Tree over Thanksgiving. There were hundreds of people that came out. So we like to camp on BLM land. BLM stands for the Bureau of Land Management. So that is public land, primarily in the West, that is owned by the government. And so citizens are able to camp on that land for free up to 2 weeks in a single location. And so over Thanksgiving, we all met at some public owned land in Joshua Tree, California on a dry lake bed, and we camped out there for 2 weeks. And it was awesome. People got together, we shared meals, shared campfires, and just hung out and had a good time. It's basically camping on a larger scale. But the nice thing is, everyone has their homes. So it's like you're camping, but you got a shower, you got your cooktop. I mean, you're comfortable, you're not roughing it.
Oh, I wanted to ask you. So you brought up some terminology that some people might not be familiar with. Like you said, a Murphy bed. You said a wet bath. And so
Uh-huh.
what do you, because this is important in tiny home living. So what do you mean by that? And how do you incorporate things like that to maximize the space, the design? Because we are talking about a smaller square footage.
Yeah, so a Murphy bed, I mean, it is technically a residential. So this is a residential Murphy bed. I bought it on Amazon. It's not any like specific tiny house thing. Um, but the idea is the bed folds up into the wall. So I can just go, let's see, and we flip it like this, and then like this, and like that, just like
Aha.
that. So that's a full size mattress. So, I mean, 8-inch memory foam, it's comfortable, but then the whole bed folds away. And then, let me take you on a little tour here. And then I have a seating bench down here. So now it's like kind of a living room space, right? So you can sit here on the bench and you can hang out. You can have like, maybe 3 people here hanging out. And then my whole back door actually opens up to the outside. So like, that's how I got those really good views in San Diego. So the whole back of my tiny home opens up. And then when you're, parked up on the beach or at a lake or whatever, you can open the whole rear. That's kind of blown out on camera. And you can see whatever's going on outside. Right now I'm at my dad's house in Arizona, so it's just a residential, but also the bottom part folds down to a deck. But so now the space that would normally just be taken up by a bed, now it's like a whole separate living quarters. So that's the Murphy bed situation. And then back here, this is my wet bath. A wet bath just means it's like a bathroom and a toilet, but the whole thing can be wet. So it's basically a shower stall with a toilet inside of it. And so that's what I have back in the corner there. I haven't installed the shower yet. It's on the list. This tiny home is a build in progress. But I have the toilet in
Yeah.
there.
And your finished one was so beautiful. Maybe I could find some photos on your Instagram of that one. Let me see.
Probably.
Because you just sold that one. Like, what do you think is a good price for the? Oh, nice. So, what's like a good price for? Oh, that was losing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I'm too far back in history here. Let me go back up. What can most people go online and buy one of these for? Because I've seen like Mercedes Sprinter vans. It looks like this was your old one, right?
Yeah, so if you go scroll up a little bit, go back to the main feed, and then go up. Stop. Okay,
Oh, cool. That's how I did
keep
the
going, keep
countertops.
going up, keep going up.
Bloop.
I did one recently. Keep going up a little more, up, near the top. Okay, stop. Go down a little bit. I don't see. I did one that was like a full 360.
Maybe this one?
Anyway,
On the move.
it's on there. If they go through my Instagram, they'll see it. But yeah, it was fun. So that one I built it, from scratch. I sold it for $46,000.
Oh, wow.
But it's like the market's all over the place, right? It's like what it's worth is whatever somebody's gonna pay for it. There you go. That's the one I was thinking about. That shows the full
I
interior.
found it.
Yep.
And the colors you chose too, Brad, like the white, it really makes the space feel so gigantic.
Yeah, it's important to do light colors in a small space. So this one is still under construction, but it'll also be mostly white. I have some birch on the walls this time, but there's going to be quite a bit of white in here as well. So it opens it up, makes it feel large.
Yeah. Yeah. And you like added windows and everything. So let me ask you, since you've done a few of these builds. So let's say someone wants to do this. They've seen van life on Instagram. They've seen it on social media. They're like, this is so cool. This is what I want to do. I'll get a Starlink, satellite, whatever, internet router thing so that I can work from anywhere.
Yes.
What advice would you give them? Like, for instance, my cousin just called me last week and he was like, I bought a van because he's a builder. He builds homes for a living. But he was like, I bought a van. I want to drive to where it's warmer and then build it out and then go to all the national parks and and do that in the winter, like snowbird kind of a thing. But I think a lot of people get this, not that he won't be able to pull it off. I'm sure he will because he has building experience.
Yeah.
But they get the idea of doing this, but then they buy it and they're like, oh crap, this is a lot of work. There's electrical. Oh my God, I have to figure out how to, like do so many different things that I've never learned before. Like, what advice would you give? Should they just buy one that's already been built, or like what do you think is the best way to pull this off?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Before I built my first one, I completely remodeled my house. So I already had like a lot of experience with construction. But I would say, unless you are really good with, not really good, but unless you're really comfortable with construction and remodels, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it yourself, especially if you're just getting started. And so right now the market is pretty soft on used vehicles. There's some really good deals. There's more sellers than buyers. So I would recommend anybody that's looking to get into it, I would say just get something that's already been built. And get a good deal, and then that way if you get in and you hate it, you could resell it, and you're not out a bunch of labor and time. So that's what I would suggest, is just buy one already done.
Okay, and I think when we spoke last time, you had just sold your other. So what? These are like U-Haul trucks, right? They're box trucks that you buy and then you build them out. Like, is that correct? They're U-Haul, or like people do ambulance, like they'll buy that,
Yeah, you
right?
can do anything. You can do U-Haul, ambulance, shuttle buses, transits and sprinters are popular, but my actually I had two U-Hauls. I miscalculated. I had two U-Hauls, a shuttle bus, a cargo van, and this is in a Isuzu. This is five vehicles. Um, but yeah, I like the U-Hauls. They're pretty cheap, and they actually maintain their vehicles really well. But
In
that
terms
would
of the
be,
engine,
what's that?
you mean in terms of the engine?
Well, yeah, all the components, the engine, the suspension, they maintain all that stuff really well. So I think if you're going to get an older used vehicle, U-Haul's a good choice. But at that point, you're, doing the whole build yourself. So what I always recommend to people, if you're going to go buy someone else's conversion, you need to have a mechanic look at it, make sure the car part of it is good.
Yeah.
And then you also want to try to make sure the home portion is good as well.
Yeah, and what would you say about the lifestyle? Because you've been doing this now for almost a decade, and obviously you love it, right?
Yeah.
And so what would you say for folks who are curious, but maybe haven't taken that leap of faith yet?
I
Like,
tell
what is it that you
people,
love so much about it?
Well, I tell people it's not for everybody. And, what you see on YouTube channels and on Instagram is just a sliver of reality. So I would suggest people try it before they buy anything. So
Mm,
there's multiple companies that rent out camper vans, or you could rent an RV, but I would just try it first, 100%, because if you buy a conversion, you're going to be spending minimum 30 grand.
yeah.
For a bare bones one, it's going to be 30 grand up. So I would definitely try it first, because you have to make sure all the little stuff, like, are you comfortable sleeping on the street? Like, are you comfortable living in a small space? I mean, there's a lot to it, that you might not be aware of, especially too, all your resources are limited. So if you're one of those, I need a 30-minute shower every day people, this is not the right lifestyle for you.
Wait, I saw a video. I was looking at your YouTube channel earlier where you were sharing hacks to van life, and it was like, I went to Planet Fitness and got a membership because you can use the showers there, like while you were doing your build. Ooh, yeah, maybe you can share some of your hacks to this lifestyle that make it so that you can still do things like that.
Yeah, well, that's nice. But again, the reality is you're not always going to be close to a Planet Fitness. So, like, for example, for me, I take about one shower a week. That's just the reality of it. And most people that are doing like van life, they might get a couple showers a week, but that's about it. So I know a lot of like residential regular people, they shower every day. So I'm just saying there's little things like that that you have to take into account, because you really can't take a daily shower in a van. There's just not enough water. So it's just little things like that that you want to try out.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I'm gonna post this. We have some folks watching live, If you all have questions for Nomad Brad, put them in the comments section and I will share screen. So let me think. Any other questions? We've discussed price, we've discussed design, build outs, your suggestion of maybe trying it first, renting one, making sure it's the right fit. If it's your first time, just buying one that's already been built out. And then I did want to ask too, because when you start from scratch and you've built 7 of these, it sounds like, how long does it take from the time that you buy a shell or a brand new one to like even where you're at right now? You're making great progress. You were talking about the cabinets have gotten done. You have the Murphy bed that you've installed. It looks like you've added a lot. Like when did you get that one? How long does it usually take to turn it into where it's like a finished product?
So I've been building this out for 7 months.
Ooh.
And I mean, I worked on this every day from June through October, every day. So it's a lot of work. I think a lot of people go into it underestimating the time that it takes. Everything is custom. Every little piece you want to make, it's all custom dimensions. You can't just go buy stuff for a house and slap it in. So it's a lot of time and a lot of problem solving. So I would say, and again, I've done a lot of them and it's taken me 7 months to get this far. I have another probably 3 months to go. So about a year. And I know people that like have jobs and it takes them 2 years or longer to do a conversion. That's the thing is if you're working and you're going to try to do a build, you're going to be looking at years to completion, which is it's a long time. And so another thing too that I would say is why I recommend trying it first and then getting one at a good deal that's already been built is you don't know what you need or what you really want until you've been living the lifestyle. And that's why I've gone through so many different rigs is because I bought one. I started out in something, I built it out, I realized I wanted it different. And so it's been all these different iterations. And so most nomads I know, your first vehicle is never your forever vehicle. So it would be good to not spend a lot of time on your first home on wheels.
The video that we were looking at of your last one, that one was bougie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and everyone I've done has been better, right? The first one was super basic, and then they've got better from there. This one's going to be the fanciest. So,
what are your plans for this one? So we're seeing it. You just did the upper cabinets. You've installed the Murphy bed. You have the bench. What's the be all end all goal? You said 3 more months.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference is this is the first vehicle I've lived in 7 years that has a shower. So this whole previous time, I was only going to Planet Fitness to take showers. So I have a shower now. And then the big reason I wanted this box truck is for the rear door. It's a game changer to be able to pop that door open. Like, just imagine you're backed up to like a lake or something and you're laying in bed. So when I put the bed down, I can lay in bed and look right out that whole door. So that's how you get those Instagram shots, right?
Yeah.
So those were the 2 main considerations. I wanted a wet bath and I wanted to have that whole rear back deck open up, which is why I did this build out.
We've all seen those beautiful van life photos on Instagram where they have their legs on the bed and the like beach or like the mountains or the crystal clear water lake is right there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was great, Brad, and it's good to catch up with you. I've missed you. I know we had good times in Texas and that you did the van life to not do the rat race, go, go, go. Then you got sucked back into the vortex of our crazy activism stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time in Austin though. Van life in Austin was super fun and I met some cool people and I had a really good time hanging out at Barton Springs.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely appreciated my van life journey in Austin. It was pretty nice.
Where else do you go? And then we can wrap up. I know you're busy with the build and everything. Where else do you go for these conferences? Like I see you go to these meetups, it looks like, for tiny house trade shows, or is it like tiny house jamboree?
Oh, there's an event called Tiny Fest.
Tiny Fest. Okay.
And so I know the organizer just from living in my van. She lives in a schoolie. And so they put on an event once or twice a year in California, basically. And it's like like a home and garden show, but for tiny homes. So they have like full-size tiny homes you can buy all the way down to like vans, and then all the different, components and, products you would buy for it. But that's the only one I'm aware of is Tiny Fest. But they're pretty cool. You might want to link up with them, because when I was there last summer in California, uh, Van Life Trader was there, which is an online van reseller marketplace.
Yeah.
So you guys might like to connect with them or be involved with that somehow.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of listings for Tiny House Society where they're done already, like the converted shuttle bus or the schoolies
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And sometimes people ask questions like, why is it so expensive? And it's like what you were just explaining, like it can take years to build these out. It's a lot of work to do these conversions. And yeah, so that's another great resource too.
It's a lot of work. Something else I would tell people is, it can be. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you can spend $200,000 on a custom Sprinter conversion,
Yeah. Oh my
but
gosh.
you can get a decent used rig for like around 40 grand that's well equipped. And 40 grand is still a lot of money, but you have to keep in mind that your overhead is dropping way down. So like, for example, my monthly overhead right now, like all my bills, my groceries, my Starlink, everything, including fuel and insurance, is about $1,600 a month. That's it. And so most people spend at least 1,600 just on rent.
Yeah.
And then they still have to pay utilities. They have to pay for transportation. They have a car or they take a bus. I mean, there's so much more on top of it that goes into cost of living, plus food and all that. I'm calculating my food into that. So the money that you save, by not having traditional housing, and then the time that you gain back is pretty rewarding. So that's the offset.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are attracted to tiny homes. It's like it affords you, yeah, your house is smaller, but in that pursuit, it actually forces this lifestyle where you get to go adventure more and be outside more and have more quality time and free time and financial freedom and less 9 to 5 normal work kind of forcing that situation down your throat.
Yeah, and I would tell people too is, take into account what you actually do in your house, right? Like for most people, they're working all day and then they go home and they cook dinner, watch TV, and go to bed.
Yeah.
So if that's what you do in your house, you can do that in a tiny home, right? The only caveat is if you need some big home office or you need a bunch of like tools and stuff. I mean, it's not for everybody, but anybody that lives in an apartment, there's no reason you couldn't be in a tiny house.
Yep. You could be living on the San Diego beach in a van or a tiny home. How
Yeah.
are they just really lackadaisical there? Is that why you choose San Diego?
I mean, it's the best weather in the country, 100%.
Like
So
70 year round,
it's
75.
like 70s year round, sunny pretty much every day. And so when you're living in a vehicle, you spend a lot of time outside. And
Yeah.
so it's good to be somewhere that has good outdoor weather. So that's the main reason for San Diego. Fortunately, San Diego is just a weird place where like they don't charge for parking. Most of California, you have to pay for parking on the beach. So San Diego is just kind of a little diamond gem where you don't have to pay for parking. They're pretty laid back on their regulations. And so it's a good spot.
Amazing. Okay, closing thoughts. I don't see any questions coming through. I'm assuming most folks will watch this replay. So if you could send out, oops, I don't know where you went there. Oh, I think we lost you, Brad. Okay, well, if I see you come back, I'll bring you on. Okay, I don't see Brad coming back, so I'll just share some closing thoughts. If you'd like to follow Brad's work, he has a very successful YouTube page. So you can find him on YouTube, Nomad Brad. You can check the progress of his build, his 7th build. And also, if you are interested in any off-grid shuttle bus conversions, schoolies, we have a lot of listings on the Tiny House Society directory, and you can actually filter them on the map if you click the filter button by the type of tiny home. So if this interests you, if you want to do van life, then I would definitely encourage you to check that out. Like Brad was saying, it's probably probably a more direct strategy just to buy one that's already been converted. But I don't see that Brad's coming back. I think that we might have lost connection. Perfect timing anyway. It seemed like the conversation was coming to a close. With that being said, this has been episode 9 of Rebel Roots, where we explore alternative living. Oh, here he is. He's back. Yay.
Sorry about that. A phone call came in and it booted me out, I guess.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no.
I guess that was the final thought.
I know. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, the conversation's coming to a close anyway. So. But yeah, final thought. Okay, let's say someone is like wanting to live this lifestyle. You've been doing it for 7 years. Words of wisdom. What do you have?
I mean, the simple thing is you just got to try it before you buy it. So if you have 2 options, either rent something and try and just go live in it for a week, or, if you have a car, like if you have an SUV, even just put the seats down, put in a sleeping bag, and go park, on the street somewhere, or park at Walmart and just try it out. That's the main thing, is try it out. Most nomads that I know, they tried it out and they got addicted to it. And they were like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then the other side is people try it out and they're like, I hate this. So you just need to, it's all about what's right for you. So you need to figure out if this is the right thing for you before you go spending any money.
That's really good advice. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, like you were saying, the Instagram photos you see online with the beach or the nice view, and you're like sitting there, it is gorgeous and it is wonderful. But there's the practical things to consider, like you were bringing up, like the shower situation, or how big is the inside and how is it designed. Like the Murphy bed was really smart. Kudos to you on that one. And I'm sure that you kind of, after living in these for a while, have thought through the blueprint and how you're going to build things out, like functionally. Yeah. So, well, thank you for sharing that with us, Brad. Thank you so much. And I was saying for folks to keep in touch with you, you have your successful YouTube channel where you share about, I don't know if you want to share, any information there or. Yeah,
I do. On my YouTube, I post stealth camping videos. So if somebody wants to go see what it's like for me to live in this thing, you can go watch my videos. I share a lot of info there. So check out my YouTube or my Instagram.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Nomad Brad. We didn't get to see Nomad Dad. I saw that on your videos. I thought that was funny because your dad is also doing this lifestyle in ways and helps with building and electrical and things like that, right? So
he is. Yeah, he's doing it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that play on words. It's awesome. All right. Well, blessings, brother. Good to see you.
Okay, thank you.
Time.
All right, take care.
Bye. All right, y'all. This has been episode 9 of Rebel Roots. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a new camera, so things are a little crisp right now on the screen. I'm like, dang. Okay, I like this. So yeah, I was on my laptop the last month, so the other videos probably look a little bit differently. I'm just adjusting myself, but with all this being said, it's fabulous sharing these stories and these words of wisdom. I'm talking to people literally on a daily basis who are interested in alternative living, whether it's getting a tiny home or moving on to an intentional community or homesteading or the digital nomad entrepreneurial life. So it's always good to learn from folks who are really paving the way and sharing that wisdom with others. So thank you to Nomad Brad, and thank you all for watching and tuning in. This has been Rebel Roots, planting seeds for transformation. Until next time, bye.